You understand? Like this is what is open to you in terms of voluntary association. We are not the left. We are not crazy people. We just understand that idea of the individual. We understand that idea of the republic. We understand that idea of the Constitution. And we would like to have those things equally applied to our communities. It's really, really that simple. All right, let's bring our bro back in, Devin Jones, out of Chicago. All right, so this is one of the things that I talk about a lot here on Sonnie's Corner, especially when it comes to the gun violence. Right, is what the right often says the good guy with the gun. Right. So one of the
Hmm.
things that I ask a lot is how many of the statistics that are thrown out about Chicago are a good guy with the gun. And I gave the example of like you're at a house party, right? And
Hmm.
someone comes and starts nonsense at the party, which always, has the chance, the likeliness of happening, right? One
Yeah.
person. So it's not the entire group, it's not everybody, it's not black people in general. Normally it's just one person that acts stupid, right?
Right.
If
Right.
that one person acts stupid and somebody in that house party responds and neutralizes that person, that number is thrown in with the statistics.
Yes, it
So
is.
it's never considered that there are actually fathers that are stepping up to make sure that their kids are safe, that his brother is stepping up to make sure that their sisters are safe, that there are black people looking out for other black people, and
Yes.
those numbers are accounted in those statistics. That is never a conversation that we're willing to have.
The other thing is Chicago. The gun laws in Illinois are strange, and we only even have a Second Amendment because of a Supreme Court case that happened not too long ago. We didn't even really have Second Amendment rights in the state of Illinois in effect. But here's the thing: in all of the states that neighbor Illinois, if you don't have to, we have what's called a FOI card, a fire owner's identification card, that a lot of people don't know they have to get. It's supposed to take 30 days to get it. Right now, they're up to like 370 days before they send you this card that grants you your Second Amendment rights. A lot of black men end up becoming criminals for doing something that if they were just across the border in Indiana, Wisconsin, Missouri, Kentucky, they would legally be able to do. We can go to Indiana, purchase a weapon. You go through the same background check, right? But in Indiana, that's it. After you go through the background check, they give you your weapon, you're good. In Illinois, you can get that weapon, but if you don't have the firearms card and they catch you in your home, wherever you are, with even a one round, like a bullet, you are now considered a felon. You are considered, and your gun rights are taken away. So we don't even count that into the statistics of people who are responsibly owning weapons, but they just forgot about that one piece of government bureaucracy.
Or they don't know about it. That's why I like
They don't
groups
know about it. Yes,
like
that's
Black
really what it
God.
is they don't know about it.
So that's why groups like Black Guns Matter with Marsh Torre are so important, because not only does he
Yes,
go around talking about gun safety, he also talks about gun rules and regulations specific to
correct.
your local area and what you need in those local areas to be able to be a lawful Second Amendment carrier.
Yes.
But you also went to the idea of criminalization, right?
Hmm.
So they make these laws where it's so easy for them to trip you up, to catch you off, you know what I'm saying,
Yes.
and turn you into a felon. And
Yes.
once you get that felon title, even Republicans and conservatives don't care that a bastardization of the Constitution is why you got that felon. Like, they
Right.
don't ask, like, okay, well, you had an illegal gun. That's why you were a felon. The
Yep.
only reason the gun was illegal was because of the stupid laws that are put into
Yes.
place at the local level. If those laws weren't put into place, you wouldn't be criminalized. You wouldn't be a
Correct.
felon. You wouldn't be a statistic. And if Republicans cannot even for a second stop themselves to realize the damage done by legislation and regulation under this progressive boot in these
Yes.
cities, why it turns so many people into criminals
Yes.
for activity that anywhere else would not be criminalized, then again, their answer is more of the abuses, more of the regulation, more of the legislation, more of the
Correct.
progressive enforcement than it is actual liberty.
You know, I also think it's strange when we say things like we ask Democrats to give us more regulation, because if you say that Chicago is a Democrat city, is led by all Democrats, then you're saying that you want these same people that use legislation to create the problem to be the solution instead of you stepping in and being the solution. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense when we say things like illegal weapon, because if you think you're going to just use it against those of us who live on the south and west side of Chicago, it's going to come back and be used against you. The same way that President Trump gave those executive orders offering more time for if you damage federal property. And I think the only people who have ever been charged under that are all the Republicans from January 6th. Stop asking for more weird laws and more regulation from Democrats, because you're going to regret what you get.
Yo, you are so fire right now. You are like absolute so much fire right now. Another aspect another aspect of the criminalization of our communities is what they have done to self-defense laws, right? So
Yes.
when this was put on display with Kyle Rittenhouse, it was like Republicans and conservatives saw it really, really clearly. Like it was crystal clear to them now. We don't
Yes.
have a right to defend ourselves. Or the white couple that was out on their porch with their firearms waving it at the protesters. They instantly saw, like, they have the right to defend and to protect themselves. They instantly saw it. But I don't think they understand the hurdles and roadblocks that have been put in place in these progressive areas to prevent people from having a right to self-defense, right? So
Correct.
you said it. If someone goes out and commits a crime, right? They have I think the conviction rate for murder in Chicago is somewhere in the 30s, right? Like
Yeah,
34,
it's low.
35%.
It's low. Yes.
It's very, very low. So the majority of the people that are out there actually committing the crimes are not being arrested. They're not being convicted for those crimes. So they're being let back out to continue to terrorize our population. So with that being the case, if we, as I said before, the good guy with the gun says, no, we are going to be the defense of our communities. We can't count on the police. We can't count on the DAs. We can't count on the court system. Like, we can't count on them. We are going to be that barrier of defense for our communities. They are the ones that are instantly criminalized. They are the ones that are, the full extent of the law will be pushed upon you, because it is not your job to defend yourself. It is not your job to defend your community. It's not your job to put yourself in a position to stand between bad and good. No, that is our job. No matter how bad they do it, no matter how many times they fail, no matter how much death, poverty, and destruction they wield because of the decisions they make, no, you are still not allowed to be a defense mechanism for your own community. You will be punished. And again, one of those things I don't think Republicans and conservatives understand.
They don't. And even the ones that are, unfortunately, in our leadership here in this state, it kind of falls on deaf ears. I just wish that we would listen a little bit more. You've been doing. I've been listening to you for like 2 or 3 years. You have literally been saying the same thing, and it's like people are still like, I don't understand what she's talking about. I want the Constitution, but they can't have the Constitution on the south and the west side of Chicago. They can't have the Constitution in Baltimore. You can't have it in D.C. You can't have it in inner city Atlanta. It's always a reason why it's an illegal weapon, or it's a this, or it's a that. Like, sometimes we sound like Democrats. We actually do, because we support the heavy-handed government that they give us, but only when it's for specific people.
Yeah, when it comes to them, they see it clearly. Like
Yes.
when it comes
Yes.
when it comes to one of their guys being arrested, then, oh, this is a miscarriage of justice. They see
Right.
it clearly. But when black people were the canary in the coal mine, we
Right.
were crying, we were bitch moaning and whining. We were
Yes.
being divisive. Like whatever they could say to discount what we were bringing forth as serious
Yes.
problems, like they would do it, and the stereotypes would go out, the talking points would go out, and not even understanding how much those things hurt people like you that are trying
Yes.
to do the work on the ground. Because now you have to answer for some stupid thing some stupid
Yes.
Republican said in another
Yes.
state. You have to be responsible for some stupid policy that Republicans cheered
Yes.
on when they knew it was clearly wrong. And one of the easiest like issues we can throw out is how they looked at crack and cocaine as opposed to how they're now looking at fentanyl. So
Yes.
for us with crack and cocaine, imprisonment was the only answer, right? Locking us up, taking our fathers out, like that was the only answer. But now when it comes to fentanyl, the answer is healthcare. The answer
Right.
is
Treatment.
understanding the trauma that's being put in, like all of these other things that were never offered to us suddenly become solutions when that same drug, all of it is a drug, right? When that same
Yes.
drug issue comes up, you can see how specific it is when the solution is healthcare for fentanyl, but it's jail and incarceration for crack.
If you look at even with the way things are working with education, like now that so-called critical race theory is out, everybody's at a school board meeting and all this other stuff. When now that comprehensive sex ed is out here in Illinois, people want to, they want to up in the school board, but black people in the city were saying that these public schools were not teaching reading and math. They weren't teaching writing. They were failing our kids way back in the 60s and the 70s. That's why the Black Panthers had after-school tutoring programs and lunch programs and stuff like that, because the public school system was never serving us. So we were saying this a lot. We were saying that the history was bad. Black people were saying they're not teaching authentic history now. This was way back when my mother was in school in the 60s. No one listened. We were complainers. Here come these Negroes complaining once again. And now you see that they haven't been doing anything but teaching strange racial ideologies and teaching your children how to have sex. So
It's even worse.
A whole group of people who were telling you this, trying to partner with you. You said we were complainers. Now it's on you.
It was
now it's in your
even
neighborhood.
It was even worse because the Republican answer was always to us, just go to school. Just graduate
Yes.
school.
Yeah.
If you go to school and you graduate school, then everything
Yes.
is going to be okay. And I'm like, okay, your answer to progressivism is to go to the home of progressivism
Right.
and pass it. Right?
Right.
And so you had all of these black men that was like, there is nothing in those schools for me. They're not teaching me anything that I need. They're not going to help me succeed in any way. They're not preparing me or shaping me for a future or for a destiny. And you had them dropping out in droves. And the only response Republicans had was, well, if you just stay in these progressive schools, if you just keep getting this progressive education, you just graduate, then everything will work itself out magically. So again, the answer, the solution, the prescription for the problem is more of the disease.
Submit and obey.
So, you see, and that's how we got here. And it's just like, we just want an honest conversation. And we can't start at today. We have to look at what has been put in place, why it got like this, why Black America distrusts these government institutions so much is legitimate reasons for that distrust. But also, and this is one of the phrases that Mars Torre uses, is they want us to outsource our violence.
Yeah.
Which means like we are not responsible for protection. We want to outsource it to police. And then when that violence comes back on us, there is nothing we can do because we've given so much of our individual powers away, thinking that government is going to come in and protect and save us. So this is the last little bit of time we have. I'll let you finish up.
I just completely agree with you. You know, we as conservatives, we gotta start actually living by our values and understanding our state, federal constitution, understanding these laws, and just showing up into communities that we have never showed up to. I'm gonna be honest with you, Black people in Chicago, Hispanic people in Chicago, and white people in Chicago are all tired of the Democrats equally, and probably more so Black and Hispanic people, because we feel the full force of government every time we wake up, not when we walk out our house, when we wake up. And so, but the problem is that the Republicans haven't offered a viable solution other than back the blue. And that's not the answer to everything that we got going on. We're not just being killed by guns. We are actually being killed by government making us homeless, by government taking our sources of transportation away, by the cost of government just weighed down on us from taxes and fees on top of taxes and fees. I know we don't have time, but if I went through with you all the complications of government in Chicago, your head would spin. Just live in Chicago for a year. You will never want government to do anything to, for, with, or anywhere around you. You will want government to be as far away from you as possible. We are competent and capable of doing a lot of these things on our own. We can protect our own communities. The sheriff can deputize Black men and Black women on the South Side to protect their block, to have a weapon legally, go through the training, and to partner with him in keeping their communities safe. We can homeschool ourselves.
And then what you won't have is a population blaming the police. Because you will have a population say we're doing it for ourselves. And that's what we're supposed to be in America. Yo, this was fire, just fire. You came, you torched it. I am so appreciative of the conversation, and I'm going to make sure you come back so we can delve deeper, because we jumped through like Fred Hampton. We jumped through Coward and Pivot.
I know.
we passed a lot of these things, but it's important for us to be the ones that talk about it if no one else is.
Yes.
So you did that today. You killed it. Devin Jones, thank you so much for coming through. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back to wrap things up.